And so it goes. It's the music of Zoltan Kodály, his duo for violin and cello. A work recorded in 1964. And that's to herald today's program. While I'm winding up the gramophone, I've always had a great affection for that piece of music. I've always wanted to play it. I've got to find a violinist who's willing to put in the yards, and maybe it'll happen one day. But it's such great music. I love it. Always enjoy Kodály's music, and music from Hungary. This is vk3sl test missions on 160 and on UHF. And we're slowly sharpening up the needles and winding the gramophones, getting everything organised. And following on from quite a meaningful philosophical chat this morning on the coffee break, I thought I might kick off something with something not from the 20s but the early 30s. A song which sort of, I don't know, speaks for itself and has a good message for everyone, I think. vk3sl.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Roger Bond presenting his Yankee Clippers direct from the date grove of the Hotel Hibiscus at Miami, Florida. We offer for your pleasure as our first selection, Music Makes Me, with a complete vocalization by that charming, bubbling, effervescent little lady, Miss Honey Hale. Contact.
In me you see a sinner, and dancing is my crime. It seems a sin I've got to give in, syncopated time. It makes me lose my dignity, it makes me lose my poise. Some folks call it music, my folks call it noise. I like music, old and new. What music makes me do, the things I never should do. Oh, I like music, sweet and blue, but music makes me do the things I never should do. My self-control was something to brag about, now it's a gag about town. The things I do are never forgiven, and just when I'm living them down. I hear music, then I'm through, 'cause music makes me do the things I never should do. I like music, I like it old, I like it new, but it makes me do the things I never should do. I like music, I like it sweet, I like it blue, but it makes me do the things I never should do. My self-control was something to brag about, now it's a gag about town. The things I do are never forgiven, just when I'm living them down. I hear music, then I'm through, 'cause music makes me do the things I never should do when I hear music.
And there we go. That's our nostalgic musical excerpt to kick off the session today. It's from the film Flying Down to Rio from 1933, featuring I think she's about 19 years of age, a very young Ginger Rogers, singing a very definite bit of pre-code frivolity there.
You don't often hear her singing, do you?
Yeah, well, she sings, a little bit, but not a huge amount.
Not much as Fred.
Yeah, no, certainly not as much as Fred, but very pre-code. The Hays Code came in the year after that, and no such songs could ever be sung until the 1960s.
Wow.
It's, anything below the belt, or anything that had a slight air of suggestion to it, was not allowed. But I always like that song because it's just...
Good afternoon.
Yeah, g'day.
Dude, Frank.
And warm hello to you both, and welcome, and we're here, and it's all happening. Another reasonable day. It didn't rain in the end, and...
We postponed a picnic because we thought it was going to rain, and now we're going to have it Sunday.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, hopefully the weather's going to firm up a bit into the oncoming week. But, I notice a lot of people in the park, a lot of picnics, a lot of activities, so it's nice to see people out and about. And,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've got a good park near you, haven't you?
Oh, we've got a wonderful park. It's been the source of a great deal of comfort going to that nature reserve because it's really intact. It's sort of indigenous bush, really. It's about 30 hectares or so, but it has never been cultivated. In fact, even there's an aerial view of Melbourne. It's like the Google Earth of 1945, and which gives a very high-res picture of Melbourne suburbs. I think it's an old military map. And you can see that this park, even back then, when all this area was market gardens and was cleared for agriculture, that area was always a valley of bush. So it suggests really that it has never changed. So it's remarkable, really. But there's a very dedicated group who you hear me discuss this with Gus, but they do a lot to preserve the balance of fauna. You know what I mean?
Fauna's animals.
Yeah, no, flora. And fauna, I suppose. Yes, to sort of preserve a nice, even, well-distributed sub-story and canopies and things. And
It'd be even better than our park, really. Our park's just an ordinary, well-organised, people park.
Oh, that's good, though. It's all good. Anything
it's good. It's very nice. It's got a bike track, which sort of shatters the piece a bit.
Yeah, well, it can, especially if you get in the way.
Shatters more than the piece then.
Yeah, I know. You're always having to compete with cyclists in our little park, but that's the story. But that's that, and missions and playing are the three things that have sort of created some vestige of balance in in recent times. Yeah. Anyhow, so how are you there, Mr. OP? You are on the mic, maybe? Oh.
Yeah, I am. I just had to shut something down before I transmitted. So
okay.
Doing okay. Sort of. Yeah, just been out park near here with the dog and throwing the ball and letting him run around and
Good.
just been sweeping a bunch of antennas today, all these ones and bits and pieces with an analyzer. So
Good stuff. Yeah.
fiddling around, seeing where things are at as opposed to where you think they're at.
Yes, that's right. The reality check. That
Certainly is.
it's all a part of the business of keeping things maintained.
Yep.
Yeah, good stuff. I got your list now. You sent me a wonderful list of guitar recordings. I'd like to pursue that.
Yeah, I thought, look, there's a variety of artists there that are from quite different backgrounds.
Mm.
So the first one, I think Robin Ford is a Canadian
Yep.
blues rock, jazz blues player,
Sure.
who also started off on saxophone.
Mm.
So plays both sax and guitar, but is really known for his sax playing.
Okay.
Guitar playing rather. And that's actually kind of his first single. And you might, when you play it, you might know it.
Mm.
And he's gone on to do a whole bunch of stuff since, and he's just recently released a new album called Pure. So,
Okay.
and then it goes on to, for instance, I don't know, Frank's a fan of lap steel, but and I'm guessing because that's the slide sound, so it's also then perhaps the Raikuda track, which is it's slide, but like bottleneck type playing on a conventional guitar, not on a lap steel.
Sure.
Yeah, I love the laps. Not necessarily play Hawaiian type, but yeah, Raikuda I love.
Well, look, I'm happy to pursue this now. It's you've got a great playlist here, and so let's give this a whirl, because we've got Robin Ford and you've given a bit of a background to that. How about this particular track there, Frank? Talk to Your Daughter is the name of the track you've chosen.
Yeah, it is. It's off pretty well his first album called Talk to Your Daughter, so title track.
Yep.
Back now, 80s.
Okay, sure.
And it's really it's the record that kind of put him on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
People all of a sudden like, wow, who's this guy? Has toured Australia several. I've seen him play live several times.
Okay.
Yeah, great player live.
So what sort of environments does he play in? Big venues or?
Reasonable sized clubs.
Yeah.
Probably, out to. I mean, I've seen him in places here like the Continental and actually once at the Collingwood Town Hall.
Oh, really?
Long ago, yeah.
Oh, that would be great.
So that sort of out here, I think in the States and closer to home in Canada, he'd probably play slightly larger venues.
Yes.
But certainly that club style, maybe up to a couple of thousand kind of thing.
Okay, sure.
Generally very good band. Like these days, solo. For a while, he was operating with a band called The Blue Line.
Mm-hmm.
Very good bunch of musicians.
Yes.
And several albums released under the Robin Ford and The Blue Line.
Mm.
And also runs now sort of online via social media, has his Robin Ford's Guitar Dojo. So he has where he, trains people online too, and
very good.
Tries to broaden their horizons and
Tremendous. That's a good initiative.
So he's involved in a bit of teaching these days as well as still recording and performing when you can. Of course, that's been a big limitation for people recently.
Yeah, very good. All right, well look, let's have a listen to this track of his. It's called "Talk to Your Daughter" from the album of the same name, and we're listening to Robin Ford. This is vk3sl testing.
Mama, Papa, please talk to your your daughter. You should talk to your daughter. You should talk to your daughter. She done made me love her and I ain't gonna leave her be. You should talk to your daughter. 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 She done made me love her and I ain't gonna leave her be. You should talk to your daughter. 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 She done made me love her and I ain't gonna leave her be.
It's Robin Ford, Talk to Your Daughter.
Very good.
Great music. And what a tone, what a sound. He had real texture in his tone, I thought.
Yeah, he, yeah, very much. And it's funny, some people sort of think that that's, perhaps some of the best tone he's ever had.
Right.
But I think that's predominantly like a Gibson 335.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those, semi-hollow body arch top type guitars.
Yeah.
Humbucking pickups.
I detected a really sort of solid core resonance.
Yeah. And look, he's gone on to do, lots more. That was really his breakout album. There is an album that I've got somewhere of his. It's called Schizophonic.
Oh, yeah.
Which half the tracks on it are on sax and half are guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's also, too, I think, evident in some of his playing, as his phrasing is a bit wind instrument-like.
Okay.
In his approach.
Sure.
So yeah, he's an interesting player. Been around for a long, long time. Is still producing stuff, still playing, and for not 40 years on, sort of thing. So
yeah, it sort of sounded really level. He wasn't sort of trying to be over complex or overdo it. It seemed to me like it was a really measured, spacious solos in that performance, and let the rhythm and blues
he's well
underlay.
capable of mixing it. Like technically, he's an extraordinary, great player. But I think he's very and in that ilk, and even just stylistically, he's that very sort of smooth blues, spacious player.
Yeah,
He's not one of these guys that has to fill up every bar with notes.
Exactly.
He understands the value of space just as much.
Yeah, I always enjoy music that breathes, and I thought that it was quite transparent actually. And
reminded me a lot of Clapton playing at his best blues.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, I haven't. I probably haven't listened to a lot of Clapton's blues stuff, but yeah, maybe. And probably. I imagine Clapton would be one of his big influences too.
Clapton is much better playing blues than he is anything else.
Yeah, I always laugh at his nickname, Old Slow Hand, because he certainly isn't.
No, I think that relates to other activities.
Well, yeah.
Okay, we'll underscore that one. So Ry Cooder, Feeling Bad Blues. I always associate Ry Cooder with discovering the Buena Vista Social Club and that amazing doco.
This track, I'm pretty sure, it's featured in the soundtrack of it's the movie with Ralph Macchio, where he plays a young guitarist, classical guitarist but is very into the blues.
Okay.
Crossroads.
Oh yes.
And it features a big guitar duel at the end between supposedly the Ralph Macchio character and Steve Vai playing a character called Jack Butler who's done the deal with the devil. So it's all about that it's built on the folklore of that going down to Georgia and do a deal with the devil at the crossroads.
Yes.
And he hooks up with an old blues man, and this is a track that's in it where he's down because he's fallen apart with a girlfriend sort of thing, and so Ry does a lot of the soundtrack for this album, and this is one of the tracks from it.
Okay.
And it's a really nice piece of really soulful slide playing.
Fabulous. All right. Well, let's have a listen. Feeling Bad Blues, Ry Cooder. And yeah, we're right. Oh, gosh, that told a story, didn't it?
Oh, I'd love that.
Yeah, incredible.
Just beautiful.
Yeah, Ry Cooder, Feeling Bad Blues.
Reminded me a lot of Paris, Texas, right?
Yeah, it's got the vibe about it, and it's, you know, Rye's he's an amazing player. He really is. You know, probably, I think one of the best exponents is like the bottleneck or slide playing of that genre. He's truly a inspired player.
Something deeply satisfying about that. Steve, do you know about the theme to Paris, Texas?
No, I don't. No, tell me.
I'm not too sure. So I think it was a movie. Well, it was a movie.
Yeah.
And Rye wrote the music, which is slow and slidey like that. Not as good as that, actually, but it's very atmospheric. It creates a great atmosphere. Do you know much more about it, Frank?
No, I don't really. I'm aware, and it's obviously because this, again, what you just listened to is from another soundtrack. You know, it was used at Crossroads, and he did most of the soundtrack for that as well, apart from the bits that Steve Vai was involved in for the guitar duel and the. So it's interesting that, you know, that atmospheric work. He seems to have done it predominantly for the, you know, motion picture soundtrack, and I think he's dabbled in that quite a bit.
But
he's done a lot of different things. He really has. He's a man of many parts, is right.
Yeah. I thought that was just remarkable. It just told a story from beginning to end. It was this tragic, painful, determined tale.
Yeah, that's what it matches in the movie. It's that whole.
Right.
You'd probably enjoy the movie, I think. You know.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Ralph Macchio's okay. He plays. You know, he's just playing a young kid who's training in a classical music academy, and you know, busts out a blues riff, and his teacher kind of reprimands him for it, sort of thing.
Oh,
and,
okay.
you know, so he gets a bit disenchanted with it all, and
Yeah.
he seeks. He's basically the gist of the story is he's seeking out the lost song of Robert Johnson, blues guitarist.
Yes.
And he hooks up with an old blues mouth organ player called Blind Dog Fulton.
Yeah.
And they go on this journey down south together to try to find the song, and so it's the kid's on a journey for one reason, and the old guy's on a journey for something completely different.
Sure.
And they're you know, unlikely travel companions, and it's the journey down there, and it's sort of culminating in this, you know, basically a big, you know, guitar duel at the end.
Sure.
And it's so it's right over the soundtrack. And
It
it's
sounds
worth a look at it.
familiar.
Yeah, it's littered with Rye's music, and it's not bad. You know, it's built around, the whole plot line's built around music.
It sounds great.
It's worth a look.
It's called Crossroads, is that right?
Yeah, Crossroads.
Yeah, I reckon I've seen
80s.
it. When you're describing it to me, it just feels familiar. But I will look it up. I'd like to. I'm really quite overwhelmed with that performance. I think it just has this. It talks to you. It has all of the raw emotions without the sort of the deliberate aspects of you know.
And
of
it's that
narrative.
very bayou down south soulful. You know, I mean, there's a lot of people comment on sort of that playing, and are surprised when they learn that Rye's a white guy, because they all sound it sounds like a a heartbroken black man playing.
It
sort of
does.
thing, is the impression that a lot of people when they first hear it.
Yes, absolutely. To the point where even with the vibrato, it's got this. It's
that
almost
tremolo,
that tremolo. It's almost like
Which is
tears.
probably done by pedal, I think, unless he's using a proper tremolo rotating loudspeaker. He might do, but but there are plenty of pedals around to do that now.
Sure.
And even amps have it built in.
Yeah, it's almost just like it's sobbing. It's got these sort of really human qualities to the way he plays.
I love it. It's a fabulous piece of playing.
Yeah, really touching,
Certainly
wonderful stuff. Thank you for that. That's been quite an eye opener for me, and it's made me realise that the slide guitar is just can be so expressive when played like that.
Properly used, it's fantastic. And being sort of simple, it's really it's the ideal case of less being more. Isn't it?
Totally, I agree. Definitely.
It's absolutely. And there is that thing about sliding to a note.
Yeah.
Guitar, there's a whole effect it brings, and it's used in a lot of different genres.
Oh, the art of portamenti. It's used in every genre.
It is really. It just adds a dimension to the sound envelope.
Yep, I've got a friend who did his PhD in portamenti and string music. Yes, Hartmut Lindemann.
He's pushing it, but I'd love to read some of it.
in historic recordings, but that's another story. Look, I thought that was marvellous, and I'll seek out the film, and. So look, we'll move on. It's hard to sort of move on from that, to be honest, because I just need space to digest it. I probably need to listen to it 2 or 3 times, but we will continue. And you've got to hear a performance of Gary Clark Jr. And
before we leave that, I'd suggest it's probably of interest to you, Steve, to Google, to YouTube the Paris music stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to write it down. Can you tell me the name of that film again?
Paris, Texas, I think it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, Paris.
Texas.
Yeah, Texas. Okay, good. I will. I'll do that with Ry Cooder. Very good. I might even play that track you just played tonight as well.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Just to hear it again, because I'd just like to connect with it once more. I'm the type of person who likes to listen to things many times
If you want a
over.
little bit of point of difference, instead of jumping to Gary Clark next,
Yeah.
go to perhaps the
Eric Johnson or
down the
John Butler, Gary.
that's it, John Butler.
Okay, Floyd Fest.
Because this has also got elements of slide in it, but not bottleneck, just finger slide.
Yeah.
But now he's playing this without his band, and he probably, this is mostly him anyway.
Yeah.
This is a live performance at a festival, and that's why I suggested the timestamp, because he plays another tune and then there's a little bit of banter with the crowd and a bit of swearing that might not be appropriate for on air.
Yeah, that's okay.
But if you come in at that time point I've given you...
Yeah, I've lost the...
He's playing
reference.
this now. This is... him foot stomping for rhythm and basically everything, and on a 12-string acoustic that's plugged in an effect, and it's partially slide.
Yes.
It's a more up-tempo piece.
Yes.
John Butler's of American extraction, but is based here in Australia and in WA.
Right.
Has been here on the music scene for a long, long time now. Really interesting guy. Quite a number of albums, and been involved in some live coverage of shooting his stuff and also studio.
Okay.
Great artist who runs a foundation for young musicians.
Mm-hmm.
And so what he does is, from his recording career, he basically doesn't take all of the profits. He basically has that in a sort of a trust. He draws a wage, just a living wage for he and his family.
Yes.
And he has a studio set up, and basically he provides the conduit, if you like, or the opportunity for young artists to come and perform, record, and to basically get themselves out there.
Oh, what a noble pursuit that is.
He's a really interesting guy.
Yeah.
One of his albums, did some research and found out about his history, and it was a revolution in a European country, and it turns out that his great-grandfather or someone might have fired the first shot in that war.
Oh, really?
And that was the catalyst for an entire album, pretty much. And,
Gosh.
So he's an interesting guy, and it's called Pick Apart, and it's a great finger-picked style on a 12-string with a bit of finger slide, and it's just an interesting point of contrast to Rise.
Yeah, well, thanks for that, Frank. Let's have a listen to Pick Apart. John Butler. some high virtuosity there, John
Fancy
Butler.
picking there, all right.
God, absolutely. Yeah, he kept that texture. He kept it constant. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's an amazing amount of output for one guy on stage, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. I was sort of wondering if he was looping or doing something at one point, but he's just able to maintain that extrinsic rhythm right through the whole thing. And
Amazing how full a 12-string can just sounds like just amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, and the slide stuff in that, you see, was like
Yeah.
bare finger slide, not
Yes.
not using a bottle or a
That's right. It's really effective.
or a steel slide, which worked fine. And I love that performance because in the middle of it he goes, that's the sound of a string going out of tune.
Yes,
You can hear him
yes.
pull it back in.
I know, within the scope of the song, he doesn't lose a beat. He does it in situ. It's amazing.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
He is a great player.
Yeah.
I've never heard slide 12-string. That is incredible.
Yeah, quite incredible.
The guy should have been involved in that. I'm trying to think of Ben Harper. I've mentioned a while back to you, who
Yeah.
plays a bit of lap steel as well. But, very different. I'll suss out a track for another time.
Oh,
but,
please do.
But John's he's an interesting player, and his catalogue's well worth checking out. His live band are fabulous, really good musos.
Great.
And he sits up front predominantly always with an acoustic and a little drum kickboard thing that he uses for that
Yes.
sound as well, a
just to
kick
give
sort
him-
of board effect, and
Yes.
but with also full drummer, bass player, and sometimes keys.
Yeah, right.
And a really great player, but also that whole thing about the putting back into the industry and younger people.
I think that's a great
interesting character.
story, and it's always good to hear of people who give something back. No, look, that's great stuff. So is that style sort of come from banjo picking? It sounds it's sort of got.
I would think so. Yeah, it's very like that, isn't it? It's very
I sort of heard that folksy.
very banjo-esque, and that sort of thumb and the other fingers. So some essentially doing the bass line pretty
Yes.
much
Yes.
on the top or top couple of
And he's
strings,
arpeggiating with the other
and
fingers.
picking the others.
Yeah.
It's got a sort of bluegrassy sort of feel almost, hasn't it?
Yeah, very much so.
But
And the sounds like a 12-string would be very difficult to play. I take it it's a totally different technique.
Not really, because you tend to treat. I mean, look, I guess if you're good enough and accurate enough, you could probably pick off the individual strings out of the pairs. But because they're tuned, normal 12 strings tuning is from low E to high E is E octave, A octave, D octave, G octave, and then B unison, E unison. So you get four sets of strings that are an octave apart, and then the highest two pitch strings are tuned unison.
so do you only pick the top octave when you're actually picking, and the other one just is a sympathetic resonance?
Well, no, you pick both. You play each pair typically as one string.
Oh, I see. So, gosh,
typically,
that's
so that the idea there is you're getting this chorusing of
wow.
of a note an octave apart, and so of course then when you play a chord, instead of just as an example, the chord being 3 notes at minimum, it now becomes 6.
Yeah, right. Okay. Goodness me. I'm just trying to imagine the technique involved. So you'd have to be drawing the string into you all the time. It'd be a very sort of almost a grabbing motion.
Yeah, in the finger picking style, probably more so. Yeah, although it's interesting with the plectrum, you tend to play it a little bit like a 6.
Yeah.
It's just you're just mindful of
Of making sure
what you need to. The fretting finger probably needs to be is a bit critical too, because it's very easy to get in a scenario where you'll fret one string really correctly and the other one might just end up being a bit muted or not pressed down enough, so you get fret buzz and things like that.
Yeah, interesting point.
It requires a bit of accuracy.
I was wondering about those sort of parameters, because there was such clarity in everything. It just had that real sort of had the edge, and so it was really rhythmically alive because there was no sort of superfluous stuff going on. It was really
No muddiness either. was
no,
there?
not at all. It was like three players.
I mean, I'm not sure of all the effects that he runs through, but he's really refined and honed that acoustic plugged-in electric sound that he gets from his stage setup. He really has that down. Like it does sound, and I've heard it live several times and worked, and amazing sound.
It is, and he's not even sort of that aware. He's sort of happily sitting back and almost watching himself play. It's incredible.
He's
really seasoned.
very adept.
Yeah, totally. Oh, that was great.
He regularly plays stuff like Blues Fest up in, Byron Way and stuff like that.
Yeah. I imagine he'd be really in demand. But
Back in the day, in the 70s, I was very taken with a 12-string player called Leo Kotke.
Oh yes, and it's interesting. He's been a few people have made comparisons between he and Leo.
It's interesting. I've got several Leo Kotke vinyl LPs.
Okay, wow. And what sort of
Leo's
similar style?
arguably considered very much the king of the 12-string.
Yeah. Even sort of today, although I don't think he plays now.
What style? Is it a similar style of music?
Oh, I never heard him do slidey stuff like this.
But pretty intricate fingerstyle stuff, but on a 12, he just sort of made the instrument his own.
Leo
He did
Kotke.
concerts here at one point.
How do you spell Kotke?
Kotke, I think.
Kotke.
Yep.
Kotke. Okay, good. Thank you. I'll look him up.
I think he might be European. He's American. Or no, I think he might be European.
Sure.
Yeah, I think he's of sort of Scandi, somewhere in the Scandinavian countries, I think.
Could be.
Great. Oh,
He's a virtuoso.
Yeah. I'd like to have a listen to his music. Well, that's great. Well, look, we've got quite a list here, so we'll follow on. And where do you think we should head next there, Frank?
Just before we do, I've got to just take my leave for a little while.
Yeah,
Go
sure.
and organise the fish and chips.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Very important. Definitely. And I'll have some dim sims, please, and an extra fish, thank you.
Would you like soy sauce on the dim sims?
Yes, please. Yeah, thank you. That'd be most excellent.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it does sound good.
Look, probably now back to Gary Clark Jr.
Yeah, definitely.
He's a young player who's, I think, born sort of around in the 80s, early 80s.
Okay.
So much younger.
Yeah.
Came to prominence in the, he recorded earlier, but certainly I first heard of him in about 2012. He released an album called Black and Blue,
Yeah.
in which he does a Hendrix cover, Third Stone from the Sun.
Okay.
Which is worth a listen, but in the context of this is a bit of a blues standard, the Blues Train, and it's renowned as like a pretty great performance from him. This is a live stage gig, and it goes on a bit longer too.
Okay.
But at the start, you could probably skip, but it's interesting, the crowd are singing a chant.
Yeah, I can see them doing that now. I'm just sort of visually
and they're
queuing it up.
And they're actually, they're great. They're actually singing in harmony, and it sounds good, and it's a parody on another song with his name in it.
Yeah, they're going for it.
Yeah,
that's great.
And he appreciates it, and I think it puts him in the mood, and it's a great performance. So
that's good.
He
he looks happy.
he's a really he's a highly regarded young blues rock player who's played at the Monterey Jazz Festival and places like that.
Terrific.
So this is this is full band live performance.
Yeah, very good. Do you know where it's recorded? Is it in Australia?
I'm not sure. I think it's
BBC.
American somewhere, but I'm not sure of exactly where.
Yeah, it's got a BBC stamp on it. So, yeah. Okay. It's issued by them at least.
Could have been, maybe in Britain too. Perhaps
Maybe.
It's somewhere like Nebworth or something like that.
It's possible. All right. Let's have a listen to Mr. What's his full name again? Gary Clark.
Gary Clark Jr.
Yeah. Very good. vk3sl test missions.
Every day, nothing seems to change. Everywhere I go, I keep saying the same old thing, and I can't take it no more. Well, I would leave this town, but I ain't got nowhere else to go now. Wake up in the morning, oh, bad news, and sometimes I feel like I was going to lose, and it's driving me out of my mind. Gonna catch the next train, then I move on down the line, yeah. Well, I'll be ready now. I'll be ready when my train pulls in. Well, I'll be ready now, yeah. I'll be ready when my train pulls in. Yeah. I know my time ain't long, and I can live this life. Walking down the street, you might run across a smiling face, but they'll stab you in the back as soon as you turn and walk away. And oh Lord, it's bringing me down, yeah. If things don't change around here, ain't no use in me hanging around here. Well, I'll be ready now, yeah. I'll be ready when my train pulls in. Well, I'll be ready now, yeah. I'll be ready when my train pulls in. Yeah. I know my time ain't long, and I can't live this life.
Gary Clark Jr., when my train pulls in. That would have to be the biggest crescendo I've heard since Bolero.
Certainly ringing it out, isn't he?
Oh, incredible. It's such a build-up. It's like a tidal wave. But look, the thing that really struck me about that is the way the band was so together in that performance. There was so much give and take. There was a real wavelength thing happening with those musicians. He's an amazing player.
Yep.
And
interestingly, that guitar he's playing, that is a
craft.
Gibson SG.
Oh, really?
The same as what Angus Young uses with AC/DC.
Really? He almost threw it into the crowd at the end.
Yeah.
It's staggering. Just soulful playing. And it's got that quality that what I always look for in any performance, that weight, that resignation to gravity, that sense of deep connection to the soil, as if the music is...
And I think it's that...
It's grounded,
It's also got that natural kind of... that tempo of it builds and falls and builds and falls. It's not not everything is always trying to be up here. You know?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's allowed to build, develop a little crescendo, fall away, come back.
Yes, that's right. It's got gravity.
Got a living sort of quality, isn't it?
It does. It breathes in that sense. Yeah, just a staggering performance. Could only be live. You can only do that live. You need an audience in there.
And I very much think that crowd at the start were part of that performance in getting him to the space where he really went for it.
Yeah, absolutely. He was completely in that zone. Very powerful stuff. Yeah, thank you. Wow, it's hard to sort of... I find that when I hear something that's mesmerising like that, it's almost hypnotic in its magnitude and its power.
Takes you up and takes you with it, doesn't it?
It really does. And then, how do you follow on? I'm going to leave that to you, Frank. Where do we go?
Oh, look, and these are in no particular order, but after the Raikuda, that's why I thought we'd switch the order to the John Butler.
That sounds good. No, we're on a bit of a journey. It's good.
Probably, the next guy now I think is Eric Johnson, is Texas.
Yeah, sure.
Now, Eric's a really interesting player in that he's not essentially known as a blues player predominantly, whilst he plays blues, and you'll hear him and he does it amazing. He's a prog rock jazz fusion player.
Right.
Multi-instrumentalist. Mm-hmm. I think he's born in the sort of mid early 50s or something.
Okay.
Was, I think, early in his years trained with his sisters at piano, classically trained in piano.
Okay.
Moved away into guitar and first started, playing with bands when he was quite young. And has now gained this reputation as being one of those players that can kind of step into anything and play anything. He's just a phenomenal talent, and has done amazing prog rock stuff.
Tremendous.
But this is a track from I think it's 70s.
Okay, sure.
Called Texas, and it's just it just reeks of blues, and this is a studio recording, but it's a really beautiful, clear blues tone, and just extraordinary playing. So I'd like to see. I'm not aware of there might be a live performance of this somewhere, but certainly it's a beautiful bit of playing.
Yeah, thanks, Frank. I look forward to it. Let's hear Eric Johnson and Texas.
Just got back from Texas, baby. Little girl, you didn't even know I was gone. Well, I just got back from Texas, baby. You didn't even know I was gone. Baby, yeah, you treated me just like a Ringling Brothers clown. Texas, baby. You didn't even know I was gone. No, you know I just got back from Texas, baby. You wouldn't even call my name. When I got to my front door, baby, oh Lord, I know things are not the same. Oh, no, no.
I love those modal impressions in that last break. Oh, fabulous stuff. Eric Johnson in a track called Texas.
A whole bag full of tricks from a whole bunch of other genres brought in there.
Oh, it certainly was. Harmonically very interesting what he was doing.
Eclectic.
It certainly was. Yeah, you could definitely tell he's had his finger in many pies and he's sort of drawn influence. And that's always really good to hear. I was particularly impressed with his extended phrasing. Like he'd introduce a motive and he'd just go to town. He'd bring it to all sorts of, different expressions and presentations. And, yeah, big, long phrases. Always good to hear in any instrumentals.
Phenomenal player, he really is.
Yeah,
Just
yeah. Grand designs.
Yeah, very, if you use the term virtuoso, sort of, he fits the bill. And
Yeah, in the most musical sense of the word.
yeah, very much. Yeah,
Yeah.
He's driven by. It's not virtuosic for the sake of being virtuosic.
That's right.
Because he really wants to explore the musical ideas and take it, and that's why it'd be interesting to hear a live version of that, because I'm sure it wouldn't be the same.
Oh, it wouldn't.
And I think if he was doing it in a show, it'd be different every night.
I expect it would, definitely. But he just had a great sense of, bringing up a cell, a motive, and then just sort of, I don't know, exploring it, letting it evolve. It was very organic. I like it. It was great playing. He's obviously got a really creative mind, and he's in the moment. And great to hear. Eric Johnson. He was apparently in a band called the Electromagnets. I was just reading a little bit about him. And in the 70s, and he had a guitar made of sassafras, it says
there you
here.
go.
His Strat was sassafras Strat.
Yeah, there you go. A sass strat. A
Yes.
sassy strat. There you
Yes,
go.
very good. Yeah, but he's still really active and he's doing stuff. Yeah, it's really nice to hear about his background. He's had a long career.
Oh yeah, he's done so much, and he's played for all sorts of other artists. So he's it might be Carole King and people like that.
Yeah.
Times he's played for,
Sure.
as a session muso.
Yeah.
So he's dropped into all sorts of other people's playing spheres and.
Yeah, it says here he's worked with Joe Satriani and Steve Vai and Mike Stern and others.
Yeah, there is a G3. So G3 is a thing called Guitars 3.
Yep.
Was started by Steve Vai and Joe Satriani.
Okay.
And I've seen them here in Melbourne twice.
Oh, yeah.
And so what the idea is, they get three guitarists together and they tour.
Right.
And what happens is each one of those, virtuosic guitarists in their own right gets like a 45-minute set on their own, their setup. What they do is they work out they have a common band, so it's only the only changeover between is the guitarist. And then what they do is they come on at the end for the final set is the G3 Jam, where the three of them come on stage, and they tend to do classics like Red House and very well known things, the sort of things that say a Jimi Hendrix would have played. They might do a Purple Haze or a All Along the Watchtower or any number of things like that, and it's then the three of them add their own ideas. And Johnson features in one of those with Joe Satriani and Steve Vai.
Wow.
And it's available on Blu-ray or Red-Ray. Like it may be on the tube.
Yeah, sure.
There are quite a number of them. So I've seen in Melbourne the two I've seen Steve Vai, Satriani with Steve Lukather, who is the guitarist from Toto.
Okay.
extraordinary player, and also seen them with it was Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, and John Petrucci, who's the guitarist from Dream Theater, also solo career. Again, all just amazing players, and I think that's the only 2 times it's been here. I'm not sure, but it's done in the States a lot on smaller level where they just tour the States, but then sometimes they take it around the world. And some of these recordings are G3 Live in Tokyo and other places, and so he certainly features on one of those.
That's very good.
You could see him play with those kind of guys live, and it's extraordinary stuff.
Oh, it would be. I mean, look, they'd be feeding off each other all the time. It's a great initiative, actually. I mean, it makes complete sense to put the players of that ilk in close confines. Let them work together. Let them build on each other, because that's the way that music really propagates, is through mutual inspiration and exploration. Really, that's great, fabulous. Well, look, we'll continue, because we've got a few here, and we may not get through them all, but I'd like to hear a couple more if we can.
Yeah.
And,
next one I think is Gary Moore.
Yeah, Gary Moore still got the blues.
Yeah. Now Gary again has played in the world of fusion, metal, rock.
Yeah.
But also sort of a lot of blues stuff. He's Irish born.
Yeah.
Played in an Irish rock sort of band called Skid Row for a while.
Yes.
And then went on and actually became a member of Thin Lizzy for a while.
Okay.
Quite famous.
Sure.
And I think maybe even co-wrote some material with Phil Lynott of Thin Lizzy. And then on his own solo career. Sadly passed away in, I don't know, 2010, 11, 12, somewhere around there, early 10s.
Sure.
But again, another of these phenomenal players that can kind of step into any genre. But this is his take on a blues track.
Fabulous. Let's have a listen to it.
I might just say that I'll probably have to disappear during the track. So
yeah, look, that's fine, Frank. No worries. Look, understood.
Make my farewells now in case I'm gone.
Yeah, that's all fine, and we'll catch up
Frank,
again.
have a good evening.
Yeah,
Enjoy
look,
the fish and chippies.
Yeah, I haven't got any thoughts about agendas for later on tonight, but we'll just go with the flow, and just I'm sure something will emerge in situ. We'll
won't work for me. That's fine.
Yeah, we'll go with whatever happens.
No, you could probably tease out the whole Raikuda thing. I reckon.
Yeah, what I'd like to
for a show.
Yeah,
be okay with me.
Yeah, I'd certainly like to follow on definitely with that with the track we heard, but play a couple more maybe. Yeah, so that would be great. But and as for the classical thing, we'll just have to see what happens after midnight. Okay, look forward to catching up later, Frank, and have a nice evening.
And you.
And let's continue with
Cheers, Frank.
with Gary Moore. Still got the blues. Name of the track: vk3sl. Testing.
Used to be so easy to give my heart away, but I found out the hard way there's a price you have to pay. I found out that love was no friend of mine. I should have known time after time. So long, it was so long ago, but I've still got the blues for you. Used to be so easy to win, but you lose just I've still got the blues for you.
Still got the blues and Gary Moore. Yeah, great. Nice, again, nice, really nice sound, full-bodied sound. And
Yeah, very, you know, again, they're a player who's, you know, pretty comfortable and kind of knows where he wants to go. And,
yeah,
you know,
yeah, very much so. And slightly more sort of a little bit of a pop feel to that song as well.
Yeah, I think, he was, you know, he's looking, he was no stranger to commercial success, and obviously, you know, that
Sure.
was always a part of, I think, his formula, and, you know,
Yeah.
and he saw plenty of it, so.
Yeah, it was good though. I really liked it. It was a nice song. And yeah, very competent playing and expansive playing, as you say, completely in command of his craft. So yeah, thank you. That was great. Gary Moore. And we'll have to hear some more of Gary Moore. Is there any other tracks that sort of his that...
I'd have to look into for blues because, you know, I was sort of wearing with the Thin Lizzy stuff as well. So he's,
Yep.
you know, he's
Yeah.
but he's quite a renowned player and is capable of, you know, that real fast shred stuff as well.
Okay, sure.
You know, again, because he's played in several genres. So,
Yeah.
yeah, he's certainly got a lot of tracks. I'm trying to think of others at the moment.
That's
now.
okay. That's all right. No, we can look into hearing some different examples in another time. But yeah, well, I'm gonna have to wind soon. But we'll have what? Is there one of these an extended track? I won't do our usual. I'm sort of getting a bit. I think the Twilight Zone is a bit too dark.
Yeah, it is a bit, isn't it?
It's just too dark. I was
They
just
always venture into dark territory.
really dark. You know, I'd forgotten how.
Yeah.
You know, they're.
Yeah.
It sort of puts me in a not the sort of place I want to be at this time, and let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So I might sort of refrain from playing some of them.
Well, I think the Joe Bonamassa track, Blues Deluxe. That's a little longer, I think.
Yeah, sure. I'll see if I can find it.
He's an interesting player. He, again, very young age, started playing.
Yes.
Was opening shows for B.B. King when he was like,
Really?
11, 12, 13 years old or something.
Okay, really?
Yeah, did on a tour, did quite a number of dates, opening places, so that, you know, for an artist like B.B. King to go, hey, I'm going to let this kid open for me.
Wow. Well, that's saying something, isn't it?
And he's recorded, must be 15 or more albums or something, and he's born in the 70s, so he's not, you know, he's still relatively young.
Yeah.
He's done, so a bunch of blues playing. He's quite well, highly regarded, and I sort of became aware of him maybe, 15 years or so ago.
Sure.
On a couple of his solo recordings. But then he also has done a couple of collaborations with a vocalist called Beth Hart. Mm-hmm. And now this is a blues track, so it's just him. But the Beth Hart stuff's worth interesting to visit too, because they do some covers. And in fact, one cover on the first one, which was the first collaboration with her, is called Seesaw. And she's a fine vocalist. I haven't seen her with him, but I've seen her with Jeff Beck.
With Jeff Beck,
who's an extraordinary guitarist.
Okay.
And she's an amazing vocalist who, if you hear her without seeing her, you'd think, big black American soulful woman, a bit, you know, like an Aretha Franklin-esque figure. Your imagination takes you.
Sure.
And then you see this, you know, 4'11" white woman who has the most amazing set of pipes.
Wow, how about that?
And they did a collaboration on that on that first collaboration. It's called Seesaw, is the album.
Yes.
They do a cover of Tina Turner's Nutbush, City Limits.
Okay.
With Joe rocking up, you know, and Yeah, it's really good. And
Okay.
certainly her vocals too.
Can you do a
like-
quick check on that and see if you could send me a link, even if it's a text, and I'll follow on from this track with
Yep.
that one,
Yep.
and then we'll ride out with both of these because that sounds really intriguing.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so well, this one, Blues Deluxe, is him.
Yeah.
It's a one of the, I don't know if it's Royal Albert Hall or somewhere like that. But it's a it's a fine venue and great sound and virtuosic playing in the blues and
Yes.
from a amazing player.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll continue with this and then follow on with your other suggestion. And
I'll go and dig it out.
Oh, look, please do. And then it'll have to be the wrap for today. But look, I have to thank you. It's been really great. It's been a wonderful journey. I've really enjoyed hearing all of this. It's, not stuff it's my usual pastime, but I've thoroughly enjoyed the ride, and we'll definitely play a lot more, and we'll keep this theme well and truly open. I don't mind if we do it regularly. It's great. So, and I think there's still a few more on your list anyhow that we can get a chance to play
Yeah,
today.
there's one or two more there. The last, I think there's only one more. It's the guy Hiram Bullock who's passed away sadly.
Oh, okay.
And this was on an album I've got of his that where he does a cover of the Beatles' Dear Prudence.
Okay.
But it's got a little blues-esque feel to it, and that
Okay.
expansive phrasing. But yeah, for another time,
I think so.
It could sit anywhere.
Yeah, that's good. Well, we'll place it in another program. But been great to have this bit of blues deliverance.
It's been enjoyable.
Yeah,
Sort of
thank you.
Got me to revisit a bit of stuff. It's good.
Yeah, no, it's all worthwhile and much appreciated. So, look, we'll go with this now, and I'll just quickly line it up on the queue. Blues Deluxe, and we're listening to the music of Joan Bonamassa. Is that right? Bonamassa? Is that how you say his name?
Bonamassa.
Yeah, Bonamassa. Great. Thank you again, and we'll say cheers, everyone. And just a quick reminder that late tonight we'll kickstart at 11:30 as we always do, and with the late night missions, Frank, JR, and I will find something to wax lyrical about. But I think the first part of the program we might play a bit of Raikuda because that was a moment of discovery. Anyhow, let's continue now with Mr. Bonamassa. VK3SL testing.
Now I don't know too much about love, baby, but I sure think you got it bad here. Now I don't know too much about love, baby, but I sure think you got it bad here. Some people say love is just a gamble. Ooh, whatever it is about to drive me mad. Oh, I sit here in my lonely room now, baby. Tears blowing down my eyes. Yes, I sit here in my lonely room now, baby. Tears blowing down my eyes. Wonder how you dream is so down and dirty. All over made out of plastic. Sometimes I get so worried, baby. You know, sit down and cry myself to sleep. Sometimes I get so worried, baby. You know, sit down and cry myself to sleep.
Listening to Joe Bonamassa and Blues Deluxe live from the Royal Albert Hall in London. Extraordinary performing.
Yeah, pretty another expansive player.
Oh, totally, absolutely. It's just, yeah, incredible. It's larger than life, really. And what an atmosphere, and what a
I'd love to see
craftsman.
a show like that in there.
Yeah, be great.
Another show that's worth seeing in there too is another artist who, and you'd probably be interested in. I don't know if you're aware of him, but Robbie Williams.
Oh yes,
Pop, and his band are extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
He does a Royal Albert Hall performance where he pays, because he actually is a song and dance man, and he's always said that that's his soul and his heart.
Mm-hmm.
And so he does a gig in there. It's a tribute to all of the great men like Sinatra
Yes.
and like Dean Martin and
Yeah.
the Rat Pack and all that.
I think I've seen it actually.
Yeah, and it's orchestral backing, really great band, him, Tux singing, and it's a really good show. It's worth seeing.
No, it's a very slick performance. Yes, it's his very personal tribute to them. I've seen that before.
And then even one of his too is, if you look at his there's a show of his that's done at Nebworth, which must have at least 200,000 people in the audience.
Yeah, incredible.
It's called What We Did Last Summer.
Wow.
And I think if you ever have to put up an example of a really good quality pop rock show, not only in the performance on the night, the quality of the band, the light, the atmosphere, and the quality of the coverage to come together, amazing show. Absolutely amazing show.
Oh, sounds great. Yeah, excellent. Oh, look, we'll look forward to that.
Did you get the link? I've sent you
Yeah,
through.
did. I've got it set through.
Cool.
So we're ready to go. This will have to be our final, folks. We'll just have to wind with this one because I've got to go inside. I did pre-make the dinner tonight because I was hoping that we would be able to do an extended version.
I'm being made dinner tonight, so I can relax.
Oh, that's good. All right, so we'll hear John Bonamassa again, and with Beth Hart.
And if you ever thought that nobody could out-sing Tina, I reckon this might just change your mind.
Well, I've just been reading about her, and it sounds like she's a force to be reckoned with.
She is extraordinary. Her voice is like, when you first hear this, you go, what?
Yeah, really. Okay, well, we'll look forward to it very much. All right, we'll finish with this, folks. Thank you again, and we'll... this has been...
vk3sl, vk3p. Have
yes,
a good evening.
Yeah, and to you, and thank you for the journey.
Wonderful.
And thank you, Mr. Wonderful. Here we go.